Welcome to Andy's Corner HVAC, where we say what we want and don't care what the rest think. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That way you get notifications every time a new video comes out. The new books are available on Amazon for Kindle or paperback. The link will be in the description below. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you about whistling noises. I've got a couple static pressure videos out there about the static pressure on your home heating and cooling system, but I had done another video that wasn't related to static pressure at all, but an individual had commented on the video and asked a few questions about his furnace that he had put in. He was on the other side of the country from me. Don't know the guy, never seen the system, anything like that. But he was asking a few questions because the filter was whistling and making some noises. And the installing contractor came out and they said, well, they need to change some blower speeds, and then they told him it was okay and normal for it to whistle around the filter, and things like that. And then here a couple of days ago, a different individual commented on the first comment about they had the same problem. A couple other people have chimed in about it, and there was one on there he was talking about that he had the fix for it because he had a contractor come out and look at his, and they told him, well, you just need to go with a cheaper filter. You just need to use a different, lower cost filter that doesn't restrict the air so much, and the whistle will go away. Which this is probably true. I might agree with the fact that the whistle would go away. I can't argue that. But the other thing we have to understand is that filter is there to protect the furnace. It is not to filter the air that you're breathing. Don't buy into big company Filtrate out there that loves to say that they could take away all the allergens and pollutants and all that kind of crap with a filter. That's filtration. If you want to get rid of all the allergens, impurities, viruses, bacteria, all that kind of stuff, we need to talk air purification, which I do have a few videos out there about that. But you can check those out another time. Go ahead and check the channel out and see what all is on there, because there's quite a few different varieties of things. But as far as that filter, it's keeping the dust and dirt out of the furnace. That way we don't have it in the blower wheel, blower motor, secondary heat exchanger, evaporator coil, all that. That way it stays clean, it runs better, it runs for more years. It improves the longevity of the system itself. And it does so much better if it can stay clean. So that's what the purpose of that filter is. So if you're having problems with a filter whistling and you just take that filter out and you find the cheapest filter you can get that lets all kinds of air through and put it in there, well, you're not really protecting that system. So if you've invested $15,000 to $25,000 on a heating and cooling system, you want the thing to last. This isn't something you just throw away in 5 years. Or yell at the contractor that, well, my unit quit in 10 years because you didn't change your filter, or you wanted to use a lesser quality filter. The original commenter was talking about they had a MERV 12 filter in there. I think that might be a bit much. We're getting up there pretty high on that scale rating. I think a MERV 8 to MERV 10 is pretty adequate. For the most part, you get above that and they can become restrictive regardless of the other conditions in the system. But that's really the main thing I wanted to talk about, was the other variables in there, because everybody blames the filter because that's what they can see, that's what they can change easily and get to and all that kind of stuff. I mean, in reality, the filter is only a portion of the static pressure, because that's where we get whistles. That's the whole point. We get whistles from having high static pressure. And if you've got someplace where that air can get past or whatever it may be, it's going to whistle. Well, high static pressure you got to look at the entire system, not just that filter. The filter is one part. We also have the return air duct work. We have the supply duct work. Static pressure, we have the drop across the evaporator coil, and the drop across the filter. Filter is like one of 4 parts or areas that we have to look at. In most cases, I can't say all, but I would say a solid 9 out of 10 cases, if you have a whistling filter, chances are your return duct is undersized. Either the duct itself is not sized correctly, it's too small and restrictive, or you don't have enough outlets. Either you don't have enough return grills or return openings in the house. All these houses are different. You can have return grills on the ceiling, on the walls, in the floors, whatever it may be. You have to make sure that you have enough space on the surface of that grill to draw the right amount of air through, the same as you have to have enough volume in that ductwork to be able to get that air back to the furnace. Supply duct is no different. For some reason in our industry, the return duct is what everybody always seems to undersize. Everybody's like, it doesn't matter. It's not blowing hot and cold air, so just, throw in whatever. I don't know where this mentality came from, but that return duct has to be sized adequately, just the same as the uh, supply duct has to be as well. The filter itself needs to be sized correctly. If you're dealing with a contractor that's still installing 1-inch pleated filters on your modern furnace, there's something wrong. They need you need to ask them what the static pressure of your system is, because there are not very many 1-inch standard filters. 16 by 25 by 1 pleated filter, or just 16 by 25 by 1 filter, was wildly common in our industry for so many years. A 16 by 25 by 1 filter does not let much air through to that system. So at that point, the system can't breathe. You can have whistling issues, that's what we're talking about here, but you can also have the fact of loss of efficiency, loss of longevity of the system. You can have equipment failure way before it's supposed to actually fail. So, the filter has to be sized as well too. I recommend high efficiency cartridge filters. They're easy. You pull them out every 4 to 6 months, throw them away, put a new one in. Most of them are a 5-inch thick filter, which everybody always freaks out about, how big they are. Well, that's going to slow the air down. No, it doesn't. It actually lets more air through because there's more surface area on those pleats. And all that kind of thing. If you have more questions about that, check out one of my static pressure videos, and kind of explains that just a little bit better as far as the surface area factor. But the biggest thing with all this filter whistle that everybody talks about is you need to check out the whole system. Don't just go buy a cheap filter. And the one comment that I saw on there, the individual said that the contractor told him don't use any filter above a MERV 5. Well, a MERV 5 is not much of a filter whatsoever. So that's letting the dust, the dirt, the dander, all that stuff that's in the air is going straight into that system. What doesn't get caught inside the system gets redistributed back out into your house. The whole point is to keep that system clean with that filter. That way we get the best use, efficiency, and longevity out of that equipment. So, don't just go buy a junk filter. I've talked to other individuals in person where they say, oh, well, yeah, my system, I always just run, I don't want it to be restrictive, so I put the blue fiberglass filters in it. I call the blue fiberglass filters rock stoppers, because the only thing they are going to stop in that airstream is something the size of a rock. And that's not doing any good, because it's not stopping any of the dust, it's not stopping any of the pet hair, the dander, all the stuff that is in everybody's house. We have to get that stopped so it doesn't hurt the system, because that's the whole point. So, just make sure you're looking out for that. If you do have a filter whistle, don't just go put a cheap filter in it. If you can't do static pressure yourself, if you don't have the equipment to be able to test it, it's an extremely simple test to do. If you know what you're doing, chances are most homeowners are going to have to call their contractor out. But have a service call, have a service tech come out, set up a call. Just have a regular maintenance done, because I preach about maintenance all the time. Have them check everything out. Most maintenances should include static pressure testing. If they do not, they are skipping something on you. You are paying the same price as everybody else, but not getting what you're actually supposed to be getting. Static pressure should be checked on a system every single time you do a maintenance, to make sure nothing's changed, nothing's collapsed, nothing's broken, something like that. That is part of standard maintenance, is checking the static pressure. So, when they come out to check everything out, it take them 5 minutes. They put 4 little bitty holes inside that system in your ductwork there, in different places, and they do the math on it and tell you what your static pressure is. There's a certain, check the other video out if you want better information, but as far as all the numbers and everything, but they know what the number maximum is, what the allowable is, and where it's way too much, you got to do something. So don't be afraid of that. Have them check it. That's the whole reason they are checking these kind of things. So don't just put a cheap filter in it. I still recommend good filters. They are good for the equipment, they are good for the system. But it's a matter of, if you've got a whistle of some sorts, you need to find the actual culprit, because like in that case, that filter is probably not the actual cause of the whistle. That is where it's whistling, but that is not the root cause. So I wanted to just try to kind of put my 2 cents on it out there and try to maybe clarify a little bit. If you have any questions or anything, hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff that YouTubers always ask for. So hit that stuff up. Check out the new book. The link's in the description below. Thank you and God bless. Hey guys, just want to let you know my new book is out there. It's available on Amazon for Kindle and paperback. It's pretty easy read, 62 pages of all your homeowner heating and air questions answered. So go ahead and check it out and give it a review. Let me know what you think. Thank you and God bless.